We are here with Ms. Vivian Aubrey, artist, writer, mama. She is absolutely an incredible person. But what are some things that you would want people to know about you?
That I am intensely passionate about healthy human development, particularly for children, and education for the whole life.
Yeah, to say more about that.
Well, I have an education background and especially working with small children, and I'm also very interested in the brain. So I come to all things about human development from the brain perspective. And that dovetails neatly with like all the things that I try to do as a parent, and then also that I try to add into my own life.
What about music made you think, yes, this is going to help the mental development, the spiritual, the holistic growth of my two children?
Well, first, I'm a human being and I know how I connect with music. And music has been like fabulously important to me in my life. And I'm not even a musician. And then coming at it from an educator point of view and knowing what music does for the brain, how it like fills in and nourishes pathways that connect to all different sorts of skills, and how it helps us connect our brains with our hearts. Music is definitely a no-brainer for me.
What do you think your experience, your children's experience with music is like compared to maybe some of the experiences that you had when you were their age?
I noticed that for my children, um, piano as a practice and as a pursuit is a place they go to find themselves and center themselves and calm themselves, which is exactly what I would hope for it to be. And that was also coincidentally my experience taking music lessons with you myself versus what I remember from my childhood, which was much more, I think, maybe traditional in terms of music, where like there were lots of points of anxiety about it. I had a lot of anxiety around being told how I was doing things wrong. I had anxiety around not being told how to do things better in a way that felt natural to me, and about being given material that I didn't connect with at all, because like there was this like you have to do this in order to progress, and this is just the way that it's done, without taking into account any of myself, any of my experiences, and the way that I liked to approach the things that I do.
You were talking about, in this traditional context, it created a lot of anxiety. So can you tell me a story, maybe?
Sure. I have more anxiety stories around voice lessons than I do around piano.
Yeah.
So I was told repeatedly with voice lessons that I just shouldn't even be there. That like I just was unmusical in this way, and that surely I had other talents that I should pursue instead. But I wanted to sing. I loved to sing. And I knew in my heart of hearts, like even as a young person, that that couldn't be true, that there
Yeah.
must be some way that even I could improve. And I basically, like every voice teacher I had, I just faced a lot of discouragement, like just flat out, like maybe this isn't your thing that you should do. Like I think maybe you're just naturally bad at this, and you should do something else. So that was obviously very discouraging. But even in the more like simple facts of it, I experienced both in piano and in voice. Like I learned things quickly. And so when I come up against something that I'm not learning quickly, it's already a, a bigger challenge for me. And then also because I was always taking music lessons from people who are like felt like that music was a natural part of their lives, they would also have this amount of bafflement, like, why aren't you getting this yet? Like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, what is wrong with you that like this isn't already part of who you are? Like obviously you just go like this, and that's how it goes. Like, they were just like, it's here, look at it. If you can't see it, that's probably a you problem.
So, okay, so now I have a question that could just shoot me in the foot. So, is that what you experienced when we were doing lessons?
No, definitely not. You
You
made me
are good at
feel like
music.
I had something beautiful to express with my music, and I noticed not just like for me, that that is something that like you elicit out of all of your students. that they can come to their music with joy and with confidence, which I know from my own experience, and then also like tons of other people's reported experiences, is not the norm. That instead of anxiety, that you can approach music with joy and confidence, that even if you make mistakes, those imperfections aren't more important than the part of you that you're expressing, and that enables you to put yourself out there.
Well, okay, so I'm interested in your thought on this because I've been doing a lot of these interviews and I've been kind of thinking, what is the underlying current that is causing all of this? Because we train all the teachers with this
Mhm.
too. And I think it's a similar to what you said, but from a musical perspective, similar to what you said your life goal was, which is you want to create these spaces where people can be mentally and physically and spiritually and emotionally whole.
Mhm.
But for music, the very first thing that happens with music is that people start to use their musical voice. And the thing is our musical voice is the most natural part of us. The first time, I mean, like, I can just imagine Anaya. Actually, I've got Anaya in my head. But, when you held her for the first time and she cried to you, like, Ma, like that little infant, like, I am making noise so that you can understand me. That
Mhm.
is the most merely human thing that somebody can do is express themselves through musical sounds. Even if you wouldn't categorize them as musical, they are still making sounds to be understood. And so if you're in that space and you get criticized,
Yes,
then you're
it
really,
touches the deepest, most essential part of you, and it's so hurtful and damaging. That I can be here, 37 years old, and still like feel this
feel
deep
it.
pain from being told stuff that I now know to be untrue, and I no longer ascribe to or believe in, but still, like the wound is still there and still like very fresh. Well, I feel really lucky to have both of my children in music with you and connecting with it. And they're so different. They're such radically different people. And yet music is this space where they can have almost like a shared language with each other. And I think that the care that's taken to nourish that spirit and that voice with them as individuals, um, obviously has a huge and positive impact on their conception of themselves and what they as human beings deserve to say in the world.